Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about taking traditional notes versus digital notes. Which is actually better? And by traditional notes, I just mean notes by hand, pen and paper. It's actually a common question that we get from our students to take our speed reading and memorization courses, so I'd like to address it here. Basically, the answer, through a study at UCLA, showed that notes by hand help you retain more information than digital notes. We'll post a link to the study in the notes section below. But it turns out that even the best technology doesn't compare with written notes by hand. The difference it has on the way people actually absorb information is actually quite significant. The study found that those who type out their notes during a lecture, they do that verbatim. If you type fast, doing this may seem like the best way to get all the facts and refer back to it later. But research shows that taking notes word for word didn't correspond with students retaining information better. So doing the typing notes, it didn't help them retain it better. Students that were taking notes by hand in the study were basically forced to be more selective. Even though handwritten notes don't get the lecture word for word, that extra processing of the material benefited students. So the study was broken up into 3 parts. In the first study, college students watched a variety of TED Talks, and they took notes on either a laptop or in a notebook. Students who were using laptops, they typed more words than those that were using pen and paper. Now, both groups were tested on the talks. When it came to questions about facts, both groups did equally well. However, when it came to more detailed questions, students who took notes by hand did significantly better. In the second study, those who were using laptops were asked not to write the notes verbatim. Now, despite this, the students on the laptops instinctively wrote more words than those that were writing in a notebook. They found that the more words the students copied verbatim, the worse they performed on recall tests. The third study took a different approach. This time, students were given a break between taking notes and being tested. And the researchers wanted to see if giving the students some time to review their notes before the test would have a different impact. More specifically, they were curious if laptop users would do better than they did in the previous 2 studies. And it turns out that still, the laptop users fell short of those that were using pen and paper. They suggest in this study that this might be evidence for taking notes by hand, in that it will help you retain information better. Obviously, more studies can be done, and there are other studies that have been done on this, and they seem to indicate similar kind of results. As far as to whether this research is going to persuade students to go back to pen and paper, I guess time will only tell. Now, if you're a little rusty on taking notes by hand, all you have to do is remember the 5 R's. Record. So during the lecture, you pay attention to the most meaningful information and you write it down as legibly as possible. And then there's reduce. After the lecture, summarize the main points that you've written down using facts and keywords. And then there is recite. Now that you have your notes all cleaned up, read them out loud without looking at the text. Note that you don't have to recite them word for word. This is kind of just you relying on your memory. If it helps, use your own words instead. And then reflect. What are your own opinions on this matter that was presented during the lecture, or whatever it was you're studying? If something is unclear, write down questions or come up with a counter debate to discuss with your professor or study group. And there's review. Before you move on to the next round of lecture notes, review your previous notes, reread them to refresh your memory, and then move on. Don't take too much time studying the information you already understand. If you want some extra help on becoming a better note taker, you can check out our full course on this topic through the link you see on your screen. It will help you take notes faster and better. You'll also learn how to take notes while reading, and the course will also cover 8 different note-taking methods and when to use them. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get weekly videos. I'm Paul Novak, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.